This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Boston Bruins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Boston Bruins and the National Hockey League.
Tonight on NESN Sports Today, presented by People's United Bank, WEEI.com's Rob Bradford weighs in on David Ortiz's future with the Red Sox.
Plus, find out what else has Boston buzzing from Mike Salk. That and more tonight, following our Bruins coverage.
Boston Bruins Hockey on NESN is brought to you by Subaru of New England, by Amica Insurance, and by your New England Ford dealers.
Well, I'll be honest with you, a bit of a surprise tonight down at the Nassau Coliseum. Earlier today, after the morning skate, Coach Claude Julien said Ryan Spooner was healthy, was over his flu that kept him out of Saturday's game. But tonight, Ryan Spooner listed as a scratch, Jordan Caron back in. So once again, Daniel Paille will skate on that third line, and they will move Caron down on the fourth line with Campbell and Sean Thornton.
Well, that's what competition will do for you, right? You play a good game in Philadelphia. You don't want to kind of mix and match with the lineup, keep it going. And oh, by the way, you got another guy back there, an old cagey veteran, who's just saying, hey, coach, don't forget about me. And that's Chris Kelly, of course. He's pushing now to get back in this lineup. So there's going to be some tough decisions for this organization to have to make in a few days.
We were talking about John Tavares a few minutes ago and just how good a player he is. Big, strong, tough. This is what John Tavares told Dan Kagan of the Metro West Daily News earlier today. He said about Patrice Bergeron, quote, I've always said he's the hardest player to play against in the league, unquote. That's pretty heady praise.
Yeah, it really is, and I'm sure there's a lot of other top centermen in the National Hockey League feel the same way, because Patrice Bergeron, when he's playing his game, he doesn't give you an inch. It starts in the face-off dot. It starts in the defensive zone. It starts on the defensive side of the puck. He knows how to play this game as well as anybody on both sides. He's a situation to me that he makes it very difficult. And oh, by the way, there's a big defenseman back there, Chara, who also makes it difficult.
If you do get by Bergeron, there's that 6'9" guy. I was a little bit surprised when I saw Chad Johnson get the start and goal tonight. I knew he was going to play one of these two games. You just sort of kind of expected that Tuukka would play tonight and Johnson tomorrow night. But then we all started thinking about it.
You know, and then you start to think about, hey, tomorrow night Tim Thomas is coming back. Wouldn't that be great to have Tuukka Rask against? And it also seems that Claude Julien, just when you and I think we get the rotation of the starting pitchers and the relievers, he always seems to throw us a little curve and say, just to keep you guys honest.
Well, Chad Johnson has also played very well. As you see the numbers there, the last two games. And overall this season, probably hasn't played in as many games as the Bruins would have wished at this point in the season, but has played pretty well.
He has, and he'll be the first to tell you the reason he's played better the last two games is because also the team has played much better defensively with their defensive structure that Claude Julien likes. And I think it's one of the reasons why this team is starting to play playoff hockey and starting to get ready for that cup drive.
Back to your point about competition. Chris Kelly is likely going to play tomorrow night. Claude Julien said that earlier today as well. You're going to have some decisions to be made here, and Ryan Spooner is a guy who may find it's a hard thing to stay in this lineup.
Yeah, it really is. The situation where his game, I think, when he came up here, he shows you the offensive flashes. He's got
the speed.
And the speed. So he really backs off in the neutral zone, gets those opposing defensemen to give you a little bit of space. But where he has to continue to improve is in the strength side of things. He's got to get a little bit stronger on faceoffs, get a little bit more maturity and experience down low in your end defensively where you're communicating with the defenseman, because on the third line, it's not necessarily about offense. It's about timely goals, but it's making sure that you're up against the other team's top physical lines that you can handle it.
Bruins come into this game with the 6th-ranked power play in the National Hockey League. They had 3 power play goals Saturday against Philadelphia. But again, I'm back to that whole thing about, do I give the Bruins credit for the 3 power play goals, or do I not give any credit at all to the Flyers' penalty kill?
Well, the New York Islanders are dead last in the National Hockey League in penalty kills.
30th.
Yep. So that's a situation where you hope for the Bruins. They have a little bit of advantage there. But again, the Bruins don't want to make this a specialty teams game. You want to make this 5-on-5. If they get into a specialty teams game, all of a sudden you're going to see the Islanders' eyes light up. It's like, hey, we've got a chance.
Back to your point on the New Year's Eve game when the Bruins gave up 4 power play goals to the Islanders. It was almost in the immediate aftermath of the injury to Dennis Seidenberg, and I think this defense was still kind of feeling itself out.
Yeah, they were still in shock. I think the situation was, oh no, how are we going to play without this big guy back there? He does so many good things for us, not only defensively, but offensively. He's a great shutdown defenseman along with Chara. They missed him. Well, now they're getting over that, but also give the forwards a lot of credit here. They're making the life of the defenseman a lot easier by not turning the puck over, getting it deep when they have to, keeping the game simple. Now all of a sudden you're starting to see them in layers and in transition, and the Bruins forwards are doing their job.
And just extending briefly what you were talking about competition, when Adam McQuaid gets back, there's going to be competition on the Boston blue line for playing spots as well.
And that's also one of the coach's luxuries. He doesn't have to go in there and give it too many raws because competition will do that for you.
Well, I think we're finally ready for hockey, or nearly so, down at the Nassau Coliseum. It's the Boston Bruins and the New York Islanders for the third time this season. They have lost the first two meetings against the last place team in the Metropolitan Division. You can bet that Claude Julien brought that up earlier today when he talked to the team after the morning skate. It'll be the Boston Bruins at the Nassau Coliseum, set to take on the New York Islanders. We head down there, bring in Jack Edwards and Andy Brickley.
Dale and Barry, thank you very much. Tonight's starting goalies brought to you by your local New England Audi dealers. Experience Audi Quattro all-wheel drive tonight. Chad Johnson in the month of January, 2-0-0, 191 goals against average and 932 save percentage. At the other end of the ice, bit of a rough go of it for Kevin Poulin in his last four starts, 1-2-1, with the goals against average almost at 4 and a sub 900 save percentage. Bruins come into this game in first place in the Atlantic Division by virtue of having played 2 fewer games than the Tampa Bay Lightning, which is even with Boston with 67 points. Claude Julien's Bruins begin 4 games in 6 nights. The game is on. The Islanders have had phenomenal compete level in each of the 2 games. Bergeron fires it right on Poulin, and he has to cover just 9 seconds in. The Bergeron line charging into the zone. And Bergeron catching a stick or something up high.
Yeah, looking for an explanation as to why there's no penalty. It was Nielsen that caught him, but it was right on the faceoff. The elusive Riley Smith able to chip that puck across the blue line, and the puck pursuit and support by Bergeron right where it usually is. And if you don't have a play, put it on goal.
Nielsen pretty much just punched him right in the nose. Bergeron, Brad Marchand, and Riley Smith all carrying significant point streaks into this game. Brad Marchand with 6 goals and 2 assists in 5 consecutive games. Bergeron with 3 goals and 5 assists. There's Riley Smith back to pick it up. He's got a goal and 4 assists in his last 5. Andrew McDonald under pressure from Marchand, who gives him a pop. Brian Straight, BU product. Peter Regan redirects the puck in deep. Franz Nielsen goes after it. Nielsen had a 6-game assist streak broken up just Saturday in a shootout loss against St. Louis, which the Isles insist shouldn't have been a loss. Peter Regan throws it in front. It's off Chara. He stumbles backward as he had to move his feet. Wisnowski fakes the shot, fires it, and rattles off a leg wide. Wisnowski has not played a whole lot. He is back in the lineup after missing 47 consecutive games since the 19th of October. Here's Milan Lucic working against Wisnowski. A juicy rebound off Poulin. It bounces back off of Krejci to Poulin. Milan Lucic, a guy you were talking about before the game. You want to see the train roll down the tracks and produce.
I'm hoping that 4-point afternoon Saturday in Philadelphia by Jerome McGinley rubs off a little bit on Big 17. He's only had 2 goals in his last 20-odd games, maybe 22, I think, if you take a look at the statistics, and that's a little bit too much of a dry spell for a guy of Milan Lucic's caliber. That was a nice shot he got away there. Good breakout by Boston. Krejci with a well-timed pass allowed Lucic speed through the neutral zone, and he shot that puck while he was cutting back towards the boards. And Poulin had to get it with his left shoulder. He gloved.
Throughout Lucic's 7-year career, this being the 7th, you've often talked about when he moves his feet, he becomes almost an unstoppable force on that left wing.
Yeah, he's asked to do a lot for this club, and a lot of it is in the physical nature. Get in on the forecheck, bang bodies, create a certain tempo to the game. And he does all that. You don't have to have, 30 goals or 35 goals from Milan Lucic if he's doing those other things that allows him to be such an effective player for Boston. But you do like to see the goals come.
Matt Karkner, the defenseman, all the way down into the corner. Torrey Krug gives him a pop and bounces right off. Karkner is a huge guy. Here's John Tavares, brings it back to Thomas Vanek. Paille fishes it out of his skates. Tavares trying to go through the corner, and Torrey Krug takes it away. Gives to Dougie Hamilton. Hamilton to Iginla, swivels to Paille's got speed. Now here's Soderberg cutting to the middle. Soderberg shot, save, rebound. Paille takes a whack, and Poulin dives on it.
Well, the book on Poulin is, if he's going to have a good game, it's about rebound control and not being too deep. He's got to get out on top of that blue paint. Another good breakout by Boston along the boards. Iginla, that little hole, drag, curl, and then wait for the open passing lane to develop. Able to find Paille, who comes across from that left wing position, almost acting as a centerman. And now Soderberg's able to step on the ice on the line change. And that's a nice little play coming across the blue line. Drop pass, get in behind him in the draft. Find the lane to the net.
Kevin Miller around through the corner. Louis Eriksson with space. Just misses the connection with Paille. Matt Martin, who's got the big flow going. The hair tumbling down over the back collar. Cizikas works it out to center. Eriksson turns and wrists it around through the corner. Andrew McDonald. Going to be an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year, generating a whole lot of rumors in the print media that he's going to be trade bait. Cizikas goes in and puts a pretty hard pop on Miller, but he recovers from it. Perron feeds Campbell. Campbell approaches Thomas Hickey. He poke checks the puck away and bounces it past Colin McDonald. Torrey Krug on the quick pirouette. There's Thornton, pulls up short of Hickey and slides it in on Kevin Poulin. You know, Britt, both you and I have had contact indirectly through this young fella's father we're about to talk about. There's a young hockey player from Ludlow, Massachusetts, Caden Bodak, who had to cut short his season. He's had some significant surgeries at Boston's Children's Hospital. And Caden, we know you are a Bruin through and through, and we know that you have the right attitude and the right spirit to fight back from some significant challenges, but we're thinking of you, buddy, and we love the fact that you begin your therapy sessions with a smile no matter how bad it might feel. Brad Marchand off Bergeron's stick. Riley Smith gains the line, looks middle, but has his pass picked off by Cartman. Bergeron picks him clean at the line. Bergeron waits, fires, juicy rebound. Chara takes a smack at the bouncing puck, and it caroms to the corner. Johnny Boychuk at the attacking line, wrists it toward Poulin. He's been a busy man already.
Well, not a good decision by Matt Cockner. Not a guy that's been a regular on the back end for the Islanders all year long. He picks up the puck on the offside in his own zone. He tries to carry the puck out of his own end towards the middle. He gets his pocket picked nicely with the stick position by Bergeron. And again, Jack Bergeron with a purposeful shot. Get it on goal, try to create a rebound. Hey, if you beat him, you beat him. If not, there should be a rebound to the front of the net if you put the puck where you want to. And put it out there.
Krejci, Iginla, and Lucic looking for another chance here. Franz Nielsen wins the faceoff back to Andrew McDonald. Nielsen can't retain possession. Josh Bailey nudges the puck ahead. Bartkowski knocks it off the end boards. Hamilton holds the puck, draws Nielsen, and that gives the Bruins speed through a seam. Here's Iginla cutting, pulling back against McDonald, tries to pass it middle. It goes off McDonald's skates.
Real good defensive play by McDonald. After a quality breakout by Boston. Good patience by Dougie Hamilton below the goal line.
Ryan Straight, high slot. Iginla with back pressure, denies Franz Nielsen the puck. Hamilton jumps up with Lucic. Here's Iginla for Lucic, the tip, and a save by Poulin. Speed through the neutral zone, and the Bruins getting all kinds of chances.
They're turning defense into offense. Their layers defensively about 15 feet, 20 feet inside their own blue line. They create the turnover with that back pressure, and it's Iginla. And that allows Hamilton to stand up, move that puck ahead, headman the puck, attack the offensive blue line towards the center of the ice. The minute you gain it, get the puck wide, continue on your net drive. Nice little give and go between Lucic and Iginla and force Poulin to make another stop.
Carl Soderberg at center again. Daniel Paille on his left wing. Louis Eriksson on his right. Lubomir Wisnowski one-hands it up the boards. Soderberg tries to chop it middle, but the puck hops. Wisnowski indirect for Grabner. He's offside on the pivot. Wisnowski, despite what one might anticipate as a little bit of rust. Has marvelous hands and a sweet pass for Grabner, who was a bit too eager.
Yeah, gave a good look, had the head up, went indirect off the board right in front of the Bruin bench, and grabbed it with that great open ice speed just across the blue line. Linesman right on the line, Jack, making the call.
Probably going to see Wisniewski and Chara play together at the Olympics. A little bit of a Mutt and Jeff pair, but you can imagine with the capabilities of that combination. Slovakia was a real good dark horse 4 years ago. Cal Clutterbuck across the middle. Grabner going for the tip, and the puck tumbles to the near side. Soderberg takes the hit to move it cross ice. It hops over Wisniewski's stick. Krug knocks it down. Clutterbuck pulls up short as he would have hit him in the back. Here's Soderberg 2-on-1. Looking for Eriksson, but Henke goes to his belly to make the block. Eriksson steers it on Poulin, and then Brock Nelson touches it back to the Islanders goalie to snuff it out.
Well, they gave Clutterbuck, I think, a shot on goal for that play he made to the top of the crease. Other than that, it's been all Bruins here, out shooting the Islanders 7-1. And what a nice play in the offensive blue line. First, it was Torrey Krug creating the turnover in the neutral zone. He delayed long enough and just chipped it up the wall, allowed Danny Pye to get there first. Pye with that little turn pass to the middle. And again, the Bruins with good support attacking the offensive blue line led to a 2-on-1. Soderberg tried to outweight Hickey. Hickey went down to take away the shooting and passing lane if he could. Soderberg tried that little delay, curl and drag, and then find Eriksson. Just couldn't pull it off.
Jordan Caron going far side. Barkowski fires it right on Poulin, who makes the stop. Matt Martin's stick broken during that sequence.
Bruins starting with a ton of energy, Jack. The type of energy they had Saturday afternoon against Philadelphia. We talked about it in the open, whether it was just Philly was that bad or Boston that good. I'm sure it was a little of both, and you're hoping that it was a lot of Boston.
Sean Thornton finds some space near the dot, goes to the corner, shovels it in front. Caron jamming. Puck comes out the near side. Carton ahead to Colin McDonald. McDonald flips it toward Hamilton's corner, cuts the corner, and makes the backhand across the goal mouth. Caron, hard back pressure, takes it away from Kartner. Now Caron takes the chuck from Kartner. Calvin DeHaan cross ice to pick up the puck for the Islanders. Martin back into DeHaan's skates. He makes the adjustment, but finds Marchand in his grill. Makes the turn to get the puck to Matt Martin. Boychuk and Bergeron go back. Martin unloads on Boychuk. You know, every time Martin's near the puck, he's going to finish his check. Bergeron gains the line, fires it off straight stick and into the protective netting. 13:59 to go first period. Bruins and Islanders 0-0 in Uniondale. The Geico Road Ahead 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance, and break from the workload on non-game days and non-game events with an optional skate this morning. You can tell Claude Julien is playing a careful hand here with 4 games in 6 days.
Well, let's take it a lot further out, meaning post-Olympics. That month of March is going to be a grueling schedule for everybody. Bruins obviously part of that equation too. What do they got, 16, 17 games in the month of March?
Yeah, 17, yep.
Yeah, and they're elite players going to play in the Olympics. You got to be concerned with that part of the schedule. So now, before the break, you want to bank as many points as possible. So you got to really manage the workload and what your guys are doing on days in between games. Love that 4-day break that they got.
Bergeron wheels it right through the goal mouth and caroms out to Riley Smith. Nielsen intercepts his pass. Regan taps it over to Nielsen. Gliding on the backhand. Chara forces him outside the perimeter. Regan holds it on behind the goal, tosses it right in front. Too many Bruins there. Marchand into the center circle. Andrew McDonald quickly up to the Boston line. Franz Nielsen's shot sails over the glove of Chad Johnson. Riley Smith off Bergeron's backhand. Thomas Hickey taps back to center. Nielsen takes the hit from Marchand to move it forward. The Islanders changing out. Barkowski leaps into the open ice, gains the line, tries to get it middle, and it comes right to Krejci, but Hickey bears him off. Vanek putting the body on Krejci. Lucic knocks it loose. Krejci to Lucic. The shot wide on the glove side. Barkowski fires to the middle, and Iginla looking for the doorstep redirection, but too much mustard on that. Iginla's stick torqued pretty hard as he was trying to redirect into the goal. Hickey reverses to Vanek in the defensive zone for the Islanders. Boychuk shoves Vanek. And Ginla with a good read comes down the boards, and the Bruins get more zone time out of this Krejci line. They had the puck in the attacking zone for 1:11 in one sequence against Philadelphia Saturday.
Well, it started with a David Krejci steal where he just out-muscles the Islanders after a board battle. The puck came about 5 feet off the boards. He won that. He found Lucic in a pretty decent scoring area. Lucic had 2 or 3 opportunities on this shift alone because of that board battle win right there by Krejci. Gets the puck to Lucic. That just misses short side. Lucic protecting the puck. He knows he has help behind the net, but he also has a lane. Nobody wanted to deal with 17. Protecting the net. Took advantage of it.
Carpenter and Eriksson on the end boards. Carpenter off the glass. Krug keeps it in. Here's Paille swiveling through Carpenter. He bats it off the kick plate. Paille to Eriksson. He scores! Louis Eriksson with his first goal in 12 games, and that's a goal scorer's goal.
He had an opportunity Saturday afternoon in Philadelphia where the Bruins made one of those possession plays, Jack, where they wrap it around behind the goal line to pull the puck from behind the goal line and attack the net, but some rust on his game, still trying to find his way. But it was Torrey Krug who kept the play alive at the blue line, didn't bail out of the zone too early. That little chip pass found Danny Paille, and even though Paille's shot is blocked by Carpenter, Carpenter just throws it back in the direction of Paille. And Eriksson just wants to get open on the other side of the net, make himself available. But before Poulin could get post to post, there was enough seam for a left-handed shot on that side to sneak one top shelf, and he did.
Campbell mugs straight down to the corner. Thornton knocks the puck around. Campbell on the backhand. Kick save Poulin. Thornton and Campbell are the first 2 to the puck. Boston winning the races to the puck and the puck battles. Thornton centering pass off Nielsen's stick. Hamilton backhands it off of Poso, and the puck deflects into the Islanders' bench.
Well, the Bruins' gaps, Jack, usually it's the defensive aspect of the gaps that you concentrate on. But by Krug standing in at the offensive blue line, that's just a great play. It's a good read. And if you have the skating ability to pivot and get back, you can hang in there a little bit longer. And by doing so, it allowed Paille to get open for a quick little shuffle pass and re-attack the offensive zone. Bruins have really used that third man high very effectively for the back pressure, for puck possession in the offensive zone.
Marchand shot deflects on the high glass. Bergeron tries the same angle from which Eriksson just scored. Clutterbuck spreads it out, but the Bruins are back in numbers. What was a 3-on-2 for about a half a second turned into a 3-on-4 because the forwards are hustling back. Marchand drops it off to Bartkowski. He's got a lot of ice. Ahead to Riley Smith, goes around the driftwood. Centers, Poulin sticks the puck to the near side. Tavares, the touch pass to Vanek. He flies up the ice. Vanek with 61 points in 52 games lifetime against Boston. This one off the end boards, and Chad Johnson snuffs it out. Thomas Vanek just licks his lips when it's a Bruins game. 30 goals and 31 assists for the guy lifetime against the black and gold.
Well, you're pointing out the fact that the Bruins get back what may appear to be a 3-on-2 ends up being a 3-on-4. If you're going to play against Tavares and his combination of wingers, Vanek, as you just pointed out, his great production against Boston, Oposo, the years that he's having, that back pressure has to be constant.
Calvin DeHaan wrists it right into Krejci's knees. DeHaan in a wrestling match with Ginla. Krejci bangs Regan off balance. Krug right in front of the Boston goal to Char. The quick distribution to Lucic to Krejci. Krejci over the line to Ginla. Throws toward goal. It goes off the end boards. Lucic there against Brock Nelson. Lucic spinning it to Krejci in the cycle. Working against Andrew McDonald. Back to Miller. The wrist shot sticked aside by Poulin. Andrew McDonald gets the puck to the center circle, but Krug looks for the quick re-entry. Hammers it in. There's Krejci on the far side against McDonald. The stick lift, and the puck comes through, but Cizikas takes it forward to Regan. Regan breaking with Colin McDonald, and he's offside, and Miller punishes him. And there's no way that Miller knew if the play was going to be offside or not. Colin McDonald wants a piece of Miller, but that was just a pure hit at the blue line. Something that coaches teach their defensemen to do from bantam on up.
Good hockey play. But again, the back pressure there enough. It forces Regan to have to really go east-west as he's trying to attack through the neutral zone. This is what causes the offside. If you have back pressure, Kevin Miller can stand up. Good lateral movement by Miller. Leverage It's up underneath and finishes hard into the wall. That's a good hit.
Kevin Miller. It's almost like the Bruins have gotten something going with cloning. You know, Boychuk, McQuaid, Miller, right-handed shots who learn their craft, keep their mouths shut while they're rookies, and look what they blossom into.
And here comes Martin.
Yeah, Martin bangs Miller from behind. He takes the hit, moves the puck. Zizekas, it deflects, and Chad Johnson makes the stop. And Martin's looking for trouble. Sure. But there's no reason for the Bruins to engage here. This is game 55 of the season for the Islanders. They've scored the first goal 15 times. They've allowed the first goal 40 times.
They must have a decent record then if they give up the first goal.
Yeah, well, they are really good at coming from behind. A couple of the Isles are actually joking about it today. They said, you know, sort of want to get them where we want them there. You know, up a goal. They start to think they got the game. Thomas Hickey through the corner. Bartkowski reverses it. Hickey pinches in against Eriksson. Okposo turns away from the Bartkowski hit, and the Bruins manage to clear. Wisnowski turning the goal. Boychuk pinches up at the line. Grabber gets a piece of the puck, so Nielsen can gain the line. Here's Okposo the drive, and it deflects up and over. Kyle Okposo on a wicked streak. 8 points in his last 5 games on 3 goals and 5 assists, but turned aside here. Eriksson, the goal scorer. The Bruins up 1-0.
Zdeno Chara was drafted 56th overall back in 1996 by the New York Islanders. He spent 4 seasons here before heading to Ottawa and then finally landing with the Bruins. Chara's our key matchup tonight, brought to you by your New England Chevy dealers. Chara's 2 power play goals Saturday against the Flyers marked his 11th multi-goal game in his career and the 6th time he scored 2 power play goals in a game. He is tied for 4th amongst NHL defensemen in scoring so far this season.
Jamie, thank you. Chara with 8 power play goals on the season. His career high is 11. The year he scored a career high 19 goals overall in 2009. Gregory Campbell to the end boards against Kyle Okposo. Bergeron fighting through against Okposo, and he gets the puck loose near the goal line. Here's Campbell. Bergeron takes a poke and pulling off the juggle, coming off the blocker, snags it. Patrice Bergeron. I mean, what a miserable assignment to have to play against that guy. You have to fight for every inch of ice.
And not only that, he's got the offensive skill set to hurt you that way, too. Riding a pretty hot streak right now. 5 straight, I believe, 7 points in his last 5 games. About a point a game over his last 15 or 16. So he's getting a job done in all 3 zones, but it all starts with that determined effort. You stand next to him, Jack, and you're like, how does that guy, you know, I mean, you know, he's not that big. Yeah, you're not Mark Messier the way he used to, you know, you look at him and say, yeah, I see how he wins a lot of battles, but being a talented guy, but just amazing how he just understands leverage and how to really be strong. And it's just that will.
Yeah, they haven't measured heart yet, have they? You can only make estimates. And already sporting, I don't know if that's blood trailing out of his nose or if it's a cut lip or something, but that was in the first few seconds of this game. So, on you go. Straight center circle. Vanek tries to redirect, but the Bruins are reading it well. Here's Krejci with speed down the right wing against Andrew McDonald. Krejci takes it around the goal. He's got Chara back at the left point. Tries to swipe it back to him, and McDonald pastes Krejci. This play's offside, and the face-off back to the neutral zone.
Yeah, Krejci just couldn't get that puck to settle down for himself to make a pass, and he just kept kind of having to carry it, and he just run out of room in those instances. And McDonald, because Krejci had nowhere to go, finished his check hard.
So it's the Campbell line out there once again. And Campbell wins the face-off cleanly to Matt Bartkowski. He's got Boychuk on the right wing board. Zips it past Vanek. Those cross-ice passes, Brick, you talk about them all the time, how you've got to have speed on them, especially with a guy like Vanek out there.
Or elevate it.
Bergeron's shot goes just wide with Marchand screening. Marchand picks DeHaan clean. The diagonal for Bartkowski shortens the stick. The wrist shot saved the rebound. Smith swivels the backhand right back on Poulin. Bruins are finding all kinds of rhythm. 17 shots on goal to 2.
Yeah, good rotation in the offensive zone. Marchand got in quickly on the forecheck. Took the body on Kakko. That helped create the turnover. Bruins using their points. Marchand protects the puck. Finds that back diagonal to the left point to Bartkowski. And then Smith's able to get to the rebound.
Gregory Campbell wins a faceoff from Brock Nelson. Here's Thornton, turns, fakes the shot, holds the puck, finds Miller through the seam. The wrist shot knocked down as Campbell jousts against Nelson. Caron on the end boards. DeHaan leverages him. Here comes Thornton in on Bailey. He disrupts the pass out of the zone. Krug keeps it in once again. The Bruins get back to tag up, as it was ruled that the puck came past the blue line. DeHaan forward to Bailey, redirects it off the end boards. Krug quickly back to retrieve. The Bruins not giving the Islanders forecheck any chance to penetrate and put pressure on. Caron turns the puck over at the attacking line. Regan has Boychuk cowboying over the boards. There are only 5 Bruins out of the end. They called interference? They called interference on Boychuk. He cowboyed over the boards and made body contact, but I guess they ruled there was no possession on the play.
Yeah, at first blush you thought it might have been too many men, but it wasn't, number one.
Boston, 2 minutes interference.
But I guess because he makes body contact after the chip in, I can only guess that it's too late. We've got to look at it. The Bruins trying to complete the line change. Little chip down the wall. You would think that that body contact is allowed in that situation. Regan's trying to get to the loose puck. That self-pass, not allowed to get to it because of the contact. So Bruins shorthanded.
Miller spanks the puck the length of the ice. Chara and Miller, the defensive pair. Bergeron and Marchand, the penalty killing forwards. And here's John Tavares. Of course, many Bruins fans remember the eruption of goals on the power play by the Islanders in Boston on New Year's Eve. Chara with a good body check on a Pozo. Miller comes around the boards and bounces it down the length of the ice. Brad Marchand leading the NHL with 4 shorthanded goals. Has Wisnowski grab a pretty good hold of him. Marchand bangs Nielsen into the boards. The crowd appreciates that because those are black and gold wearing fans down there. A lot of Bruins fans here. Chara pokes it away from Opozo. Nielsen to Tavares. Wisnowski to Tavares. Turns to face the goal. Tavares has to go away from Hamilton to keep possession. Swoops back in the second bid. The shot and the save by Johnson. Rebound Opozo, and Johnson clamps down on it with 59 seconds to go on Boychuk's penalty.
It's almost like a power eye that this power play unit tries to use for the Islanders. They want to get the puck in the hands of the great playmaker, John Tavares. Tavares will just take that quick little wrist shot. He's looking for a rebound because of that power eye formation. Oposo a little higher than Nielsen, but there's your power eye. And Advantage just tries to find open space on either side of the net. And Wisnowski and Tavares will work the puck high.
Islanders 4 for 8 on the 31st of December on the power play against Boston. McDonald's drive off of Clutterbuck back to DeHaan. He wrists it on Johnson. Rebound. Clutterbuck fires it and it goes off the end glass. McDonald holds right on the line. Goes against the grain to Josh Bailey, who takes it on the carom. Back to McDonald. Now DeHaan moves toward the middle. The shot goes off of Brock Nelson and deflects wide. Clutterbuck wins the puck battle in the corner. Eriksson jams forward along the wall. Locks up with Nelson. Hamilton tries to muscle it forward. It comes to DeHaan. He swings the puck over to McDonald. The slap pass, and Nelson deflects it off the high glass. DeHaan to McDonald, down to the corner to Bailey. Looking right in front for Clutterbuck. DeHaan finds McDonald. Campbell faces him. Bailey sends it low. Nelson tries to go backhand, forehand. Eriksson takes the puck and loops it out. 4 shots on goal during the power play for the Islanders.
That's more of a meat potatoes second unit where it's just pucks to the net. Everybody shoot it. DeHaan did a nice job with McDonald out high, and the forwards were looking for shots. and second chance opportunities.
Colin McDonald closes the drive, saved by Johnson. Miller took the pass away as if to say to the goalie, you got the shooter. Ryan straight down the boards. Cizikas hard off the half boards. It comes off Krejci's legs to center. Straight D to Hickey, who has to pull the backhand in tight to control the puck. Krug skates back hard for it, but gives it away to Colin McDonald right in front. The point blank chance for Matt Martin. McGinley loses his stick in the collision, but then gives Hickey a shot, and they rule it offside. 4:54 to go first period. Bruins out shooting the Islanders 18-7, the most shots they've had in the first period. Now, Brick, I got a theory about tonight's twisted but true fact of the game, so feel free to shoot it down after I throw it out there. The Bruins have had 5 or fewer shots on goal in the first period 8 times this season, but they're 7-1 in those games. They have allowed 15 or more shots on their own goal in the first period 5 times. They're 4-0-1 in those games. Twisted tea, hard iced tea, the refreshing hard iced tea that tastes like real iced tea, be a little twisted. So my theory is that when it's going that way, as there are going to be nights in the 82-game schedule where you just don't have it for 20 minutes or so, that the Bruins rely on what has worked, which is to bunker in, limit the opportunities to the perimeter where teams tend to take a lot of shots, and then find a way to rally. You buy it?
I'm in.
All right. I feel so good right now. Things going extraordinarily well for the Bruins in the first period here in terms of shots on goal, with that first period season high of 18. Marchand goes right through Okposo. Smith takes the hit from straight, but turns it over to Nielsen. Here's Okposo. The slap pass, Nielsen. What a save by Johnson. The rebound. Nielsen scores. It's 1-1. You got to respect Kyle Okposo's shot. If he shows it, tends to freeze people.
Well, you got the whammy going again tonight, Jack. The Bruins can't break this puck out clean, something that they've been real good at. They were real good at Saturday in Philadelphia. They've been good at it here in the first period. But a turnover leads to a heads-up play by Okposo. And Nielsen gets some separation off that far post. Okposo with the pump fake shot. Good hard pass, the redirect by Nielsen. Great right pad save by Johnson. But because he had so much separation, he was able to put in the rebound.
And as you see, Frans Nielsen sets a career high in his 55th game of the season. He's one of just 4 Islanders to play in every game. He set that career high in his last full 82-game season, which for him was his first 82-game campaign in 2012. David Krejci takes the feed from McGinley with speed into the attacking zone. Lucic looking give and go with Krejci. Cizikas turns it back. The long diagonal for Colin McDonald, but he's offside.
15-29. That's an out of the goal by 51 Nielsen. It's 18. Assisted by 21 Okposo. Time of the goal 15-29.
1 assist on Nielsen's 18th of the season. It goes to Kyle Okposo. And so Okposo extends his point-scoring streak to 6 consecutive games. Now with 9 points in that span, 3 goals and 6 assists.
And Nielsen actually had a little incidental contact, Jack, with Marchand. Marchand went down, and then Bergeron tried to react and get back in coverage when he saw that Nielsen had that separation that we talked about. Just couldn't get there in time.
Lucic tries to scoop the backhand in deep. It gets triple teamed and it rattles out. Wisnowski north and south to Tavares. Cuts to the inside. Taps the Vanek that drive. And Johnson makes a save and might have caught iron too. Krejci along the wall. Tavares battling hard to win the puck. Back to Hickey. His drive off Krejci's skates. You see how hard John Tavares works for the puck? Not just a goal scorer. Wisnowski drives it right into Lucic's legs. Lucic crisscrosses behind McGinley and gains the line against Hickey. Lucic trying to fire it through a couple of skates, and Tavares is the guy who makes the block. McGinley, the saucer pass, and that is a world-class trip as Hickey loses his stick, upending Carl Soderberg. The Bruins will go on the power play.
Well, the Bruins stayed with it. Lucic and Iginla. It was a 2-on-2 coming through the neutral zone. That didn't materialize into a play that they were looking for.
2 minutes, tripping.
And then Soderberg off the bench. He's getting involved. He's looking for support. He's able to kick that puck forward. Hickey gets a stick in between the legs. Go back to about when there were 7 minutes to go in this period, Jack, and Boston had the ice slanted in their favor. But the power play by the Islanders gave them some rhythm, some momentum, and now they've tied the hockey game. See if the Bruins can do something with their net advantage.
Casey Cizikas lofts it looking for Michael Grabner, tied up with Smith. Grabner fights through, and Johnson holds his position. Cizikas almost runs into Soderberg. Soderberg comes down hard on the stick and snaps it, and Cizikas says, "Where's the slash?" Old school reffing tonight. Here's Soderberg working against McDonald, who tips the puck loose. Nielsen turns and wrists it all the way down the ice.
I don't think he broke the stick. He just knocked it out of Cizikas' hands.
I thought it was wobbling there. I thought there was like a crease, but who knows? Don't light the cigar yet, I guess. Iginla drops it off, and Cal Clutterbuck scoots it down. Clutterbuck himself has 3 shorthanded goals this season.
Well, the Bruins are effective on their carry-ins in Philadelphia on their power play when they would get the puck to Lucic and he'd get it to Chara, and then Chara would have options.
Like this. Chara down the half boards. Krug's drive deflects, and it goes to Lucic in the corner. Back to Krug. Along the line to Krejci. Tipped away. Grabner's got blinding speed. Grabner on a short-handed breakaway, and he shoots wide. Krug just getting a little contact. Not enough to draw a penalty shot or a penalty, but enough to mess up Grabner's concentration at least.
Good concentration and patience as well by Chad Johnson to hold his spot. Grabner with that great world-class speed. He kept the puck in a shooting position.
Grabner was looking for his 2nd shorthanded goal of the year. Here's Louis Eriksson, Boston's goal scorer tonight. Works toward the corner. McDonald deflects the attempt, and it goes up into the protective netting. Save of the game so far from Chad Johnson.
Well, David Krejci really doesn't have an option to go down the wall, and he thinks he can get the puck back to Krug, but it's the steal. Grabner has to keep that puck out in front of him, but he does get it into that shooting position when he gets to about the hash marks. Enough back pressure by Krug to really discourage any kind of slowing down or a deke.
Johnny Boychuk with the puck wobbling on edge, doesn't get a very good piece of it. Nielsen sends it all the way down the ice. Ineffective power play for the Bruins in its final 10 seconds. Matt Bartkowski right over the center dot. No shots on goal during the power play. Marchand sets the edges, makes the turn around the goal. Riley Smith through increasing traffic. Boychuk's drive rattles off Bergeron to the corner. Marchand picks it up, goes indirect. Bartkowski holds, draws Brock Nelson, fires it off the kick plate, and it takes a crazy bounce past Smith. Bergeron off the end boards for Smith into the final minute of the first period. Riley Smith on a tour in the attacking zone. Now it's Bartkowski. There is shot off Nelson's stick. Comes right back to Bartkowski in front looking for Bergeron. All the way back to the side wall. Smith scoots it down past 2 Islanders, but not a third. Nelson tries to stick handle out of trouble, runs into Bergeron's stick. Josh Bailey holds and dumps and takes a whack from Johnny Boychuk. Now the 2 of them race for the puck in the corner. Bailey gets there first. Boychuk with a hit. Tavares tries to stick handle around Krejci. Krejci keeps him along the wall. Tavares trying to A-frame, but Krejci matches him muscle for muscle. That was a terrific confrontation. Calvin DeHaan fires it off the boards. Bruins haven't had a shot on goal in the last 9.5 minutes. Lucic off a stick, and it hits the dasher on the near side. Krejci chops it away from Tavares. Back to Chara. The puck tumbles over his blade. Krejci on the end boards. Clutterbuck and Chara. Oh, Chara bangs Clutterbuck right in the schnoz. That's going to be a roughing penalty. And Chara is pretty hot. There's a bee under his bonnet.
Well, Clutterbuck knocked him down after Chara had that puck up over the blade of his stick when he was thinking an offensive chance. Back at the blue line, keeps it in deep. And there's that right forearm shiver by Clutterbuck.
Boston, 2 minutes roughing.
Obviously, Chara didn't like it. And then as the period expired, he threw that right jab, and he's going to go to the box to start the second.
Well, Dale, we've learned a couple of things about the Islanders this season. One, they don't go away. Two, they'll try anything to get you into a situation where they can work their power play against you. Well, they're going to have one to begin the second.
Welcome back inside the Nassau Memorial Coliseum. From 2 days from now, the New York Islanders will play host to the New York Rangers at Yankee Stadium for one of 6 outdoor games being put on by the NHL this season. Isles head coach Jack Capuano was peppered with questions at morning skate regarding his team's preparedness to play outside. He didn't want to look too far beyond the Bruins game, but he did admit that he reached out to Claude Julien about some advice coaching at an outdoor game. Claude Julien, of course, a 2-time outdoor game head coach in 2003 and 2010. And Julien shared some of that advice with us.
I thought it was important for the players to enjoy the environment, and they really have to soak it in because it could be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And but then once that puck is dropped, it's amazing how everybody kind of reels back into this is a real game, and then you have to play it. So I don't think you have to put so much emphasis on staying focused for the game while you get a practice or a morning skate or whatever it may be. I think when it comes time to playing the game, the guys are ready to play. So, I just told them to enjoy the moment, and that's what we did. And when it comes time to playing the game, it's always more enjoyable to talk about that game after you've won it.
Claude Julien's Bruins in a 1-1 tie as we get set to begin the second period alongside Andy Brickley with Jamie Erdahl at ice level and our NESN production crew. I'm Jack Edwards. We're coming your way from Uniondale, New York. Zdeno Chara will begin the second period in the penalty bench for roughing Cal Clutterbuck at the conclusion of the first period. And as we bring in the first period summary, brought to you by your New England Ford dealers, might be instructive to review the game on the 31st of December. Well, we'll look at the penalty first.
Well, Zdeno Chara just felt that there should have been a minor penalty on Clutterbuck, and if there was none coming, then he's going to come over and, I don't know if you want to call it police the situation, but certainly know that he didn't appreciate it. But it's that retaliatory type penalty that has him in the penalty box, and the Bruins shorthanded to start the period.
Remembering back to that New Year's Eve game, the Bruins had a dominant first period with a minute 10 more zone time as this puck goes into the Islanders bench. Minute 10 more zone time than the Islanders did in the first period on New Year's Eve. Well, first period tonight, the Bruins had 2:27 more zone time than the Islanders had. But remember what happened on New Year's Eve in the second period? 3 power play goals by the Islanders. And here they are with the table set. Boychuk winds up and just hammers that 200 feet. Franz Nielsen with Bergeron approaching. Lubomir Wisnowski in his return, his first game since the middle of October. Nielsen, the backhand pass drops off to Tavares. Indirect for Wisnowski at the line. Cross ice, Nielsen holds with a Pozo, high slot, and Vanek down near the goal. Tavares takes Wisnowski's pass. Tavares looks for a seam pass to Vanek. He couldn't control. Nielsen whacks it behind the goal. Vanek right in front. Tavares and a toe save by Johnson. Vanek sends it diagonally through the slot, and it comes all the way back to center. Nielsen with speed back into the Boston zone. Bartkowski bumps Nielsen. A Pozo cross ice. Tavares' drive, and Campbell goes belly down. Nielsen's blast and a shoulder save by Chad Johnson. Vanek to Nielsen. Tavares at the dot, slides it to Nielsen in close. Bartkowski with the stick down. Wisnowski's drive tip. Nielsen the shot and a save by Johnson, flashing out the left pad. Tavares. Opozo can't gather the puck next to his skates. Campbell deflects the pass, and Marchand makes the clear. What a shift by Gregory Campbell.
Big time shot block when they needed it. Good defensive play right there when they needed a turnover to get fresh legs on the ice. And one big time left pad save by Johnson.
Clutterbuck gains the line, runs into Eriksson's check. Miller can't clear. Brock Nelson shot save. Johnson rebound, rattles around. Johnson tries to clamp down on it and skids back over the goal line. The Bruins will take the face-off in their own zone.
Well, the Islanders really trying to work the low plays with this man advantage. Vanek from behind the net. He gets Bartkowski to commit. And the Bruins do just enough defensively to allow Johnson to make that left pad save. But it was his other one on Nielsen on the rebound that came right off the skate of Bartkowski. And Nielsen's got that short side wide open. Johnson flashes the pad.
3 shots on goal already on this power play for the Islanders. They had 4 on their previous power play, which gave them the offensive momentum. Here's a sky-high puck spinning, and it drops down in the slot. Dark ceiling, and none of the players had any idea where it was. McDonald faces Chara, who's fresh out of the box. 3 shots on the power play, but remember, so a minute 19 after that unsuccessful power play, the Islanders scored because they did get momentum with the man advantage. Nelson and Miller hard in the corner. Clutterbuck off the apron of the goal, loose in front. Bailey shot, glove save, Johnson. Torrey Krug, serpentine route out of the Boston zone up to the red line, fires it in high, and Poulin will take the face-off in his own end of the ice.
Now another stop by Johnson just after he gets back 5-on-5. Little spin move, Bailey able to somehow get that puck by David Krejci's body when he was trying to get down to the shooting lane. Johnson has to stay with it. He's well outside the crease, but he still tracks the puck well, has the glove in the right spot.
Soderberg, Paille, Eriksson, Chara, and Hamilton. Cizikas will take the face-off. Paille pressures Karkner. Matt Martin chops it ahead to Colin McDonald. Martin and McDonald, Cizikas' wingers. Soderberg off Cizikas' stick and a what-the-heck drive from Colin McDonald from about 70 feet. Johnson handles it. Zdeno Chara tries to get the aerial pass through to Daniel Paille. Carl Soderberg swoops onto it for Eriksson. Taps it in front. Karkner gloves it to the circle. Chara going in deep. It comes off of DeHaan's skates. Eriksson gets upended but gets the backhand through to Paille. Paille back to Eriksson, who gets roughed up by Karkner, knocking him down into the boards. McDonald up the boards against Hamilton. Tries to hold his ground against the charging Cizikas. Soderberg takes the hit to move it to Chara. Now Paille. DeHaan can't decide whether to go for the puck or the body. He ends up playing the body. Paille goes skidding down but gets a little flick on goal. And Poulin had to be alert to it. Thornton through Cizikas to Campbell. Back to Bartkowski. Bartkowski up to the red line. Oposo steals the puck, sends Grabner ahead against Boychuk. The shot into Boychuk's legs. The rebound in their skates. Boychuk up the wall for Thornton. Nielsen knocks the puck away. Oposo to Nielsen. Hickey to Wisniewski in the circle. The shot goes off Campbell's stick. Bartkowski locks down on the stick of Grabner and then trickles the puck forward to Campbell. It deflects high in the air. Oposo jumps up, can't keep his skates under him as he gets hit by Thornton. Low for Grabner, feeds it up the slot off Campbell's stick, so Hickey can't get comfortable with the puck. Boychuk has it rattle off his skates. The Islanders have increased the effort level, and they've once again gotten rhythm out of their power play.
Yeah, and you go back to the first period. Jack Capuano makes a quick change with his forward lines. He got Oposo away from Tavares, put him with Nielsen. That paid off in the goal by Nielsen. And they just had another quality shift with pressure.
Clutterbuck knocks down Riley Smith, but here's Bergeron on straight. The puck goes off Straight's stick and out of play. I mentioned earlier that the Islanders have a habit of falling behind, having scored first just 15 times in 55 games now. But then they bring the offense in the second period. Only Anaheim and Chicago, 2 pretty good teams, have scored more second period goals than the Islanders.
Well, the Islanders can score. There's no doubt about it. They've had a bunch of leads lately in their last 20 games or so. They probably should have secured more points than they have because of their porous defense and maybe need a little helping goal at times, not getting the saves that they're looking for.
Bergeron setting up the triangle, getting it back for Marchand. He scores! Smith, Bergeron, Marchand. The magic continues, and the Bruins are up 2-1.
Talk about your classic triangle, give and go, tape-to-tape passes, and poor coverage by the Islanders. You know, Cal Clutterbuck hit Riley Smith on the back check in the neutral zone. That's what started that little scrub prior to this face-off. when the Bruins get into that third man high, nice formation, and they just move the puck quickly. Smith and Bergeron, a little catch. Bergeron just had a little slight move to his left to create a different passing lane to get open without the puck. And then Marchand just finds open space. You get lost in coverage over there. Make yourself available, and Bergeron found him.
Team leading 17 goals for Brad Marchand. 7 goals and 2 assists in 6 consecutive games. Krug along the line for Miller. Miller's wrist shot goes off Regan's stick and ramps up way out of play. Good stuff happens when players find ways to get open in triangular formation.
Yeah, right off the face-off, everybody knows where they want to go. If we win a face-off, here's the rotation that we want to get into. Somebody's got to get open on that strong side. If there's no shot from the right point, which there wasn't, then you want that third man high, and then the freedom for the third forward just to get open somewhere in a scoring area.
Andrew McDonald hammers it down the ice. Is going to be icing of the face-off back to the Islanders' end.
Help nested by taking a quick 2-minute survey and enter for a chance to win 2 incredible tickets for the March 4th game against the Panthers at TD Garden. Visit nested.com/survey during tonight's game for your chance to win.
So Bergeron now with 3 goals and 6 assists in 6 consecutive games. Riley Smith with 1 goal and 5 assists in 6 consecutive games. Krejci takes the hit from Regan. Lucic over there in support. Battles against Nelson. Nelson, by the way, 5-1 on faceoffs in the first period. Josh Bailey to Nelson. The shot ricochets in. Nelson follows the rebound, and Johnson gobbles it up.
A little too loose in coverage. Nelson left to do almost what he wants to do in this situation. Through the neutral zone, there was a battle for the puck about 5 feet inside the offensive blue line, and the Islanders won. Generate a little bit of speed through the neutral zone, but Nelson gets open, kind of coming late after he pushes the puck wide. He'll be allowed 2 or 3 or 4 opportunities to swipe at loose pucks. But Johnson was able to deny them all and get a faceoff.
Nelson from War Road, Minnesota, University of North Dakota. Last pick in the first round in 2010. David Krejci with Lucic on his left. Lucic goes right around Hickey for Krejci on the doorstep, and a save by Pullen. Or did Krejci just miss on the backhand side next to the post? Krejci shielding the puck to Lucic, steps forward, drives. Pullen looks over his shoulder, and he knocked it wide. Iginla to Krejci, to Iginla. Couple of hard strides. His centering pass deflects, and it's a 3-on-2 up ice. Tavares busting up the left wing. Boychuk locks down on him. Tavares takes the hit from Iginla. Iginla kicks the puck loose to the end boards, but there's Vanek against Boychuk. Centering pass, nobody home. Krejci has it. Iginla and Lucic filling. 3-on-2 for Boston. Krejci holds the puck against McDonald. Lucic above the dot, looking for Bartkowski, cutting through, tried to hit him for the high slot deflection, but it just barely misses. Clutterbuck's shot. Krejci with the block, and the puck lobs just over the low glass. Brad Marchand's goal-scoring explosion continues. He's got 17 on the season, and the Bruins have a 2-1 lead.
2-1 you score. Bruins over the Islanders second period. Bruins doing a nice job with a face-off win by Bergeron on the offensive zone. The rotation in the offensive end. You try to set up this kind of a triangle to create 2-on-1s. The Islanders are okay in this situation in coverage. But when Tavares tries to play the puck, now he takes himself a little bit out of position. Bergeron recognizes that, steps inside to create a better passing lane on the return pass from Smith, and then Marchand gets open on the far side.
What does it feel like when your line gets going the way those guys are going right now?
Nothing better. There is nothing better than that. Chemistry on a line when it's going and you're productive.
Kartner's drive deflects off Paille's stick and whistles just wide. Matt Kartner hasn't scored in 79 consecutive games dating back to the 31st of December 2011. But Kartner can fire it. Chara hard around the boards. Cizikas knocks the puck down, playing with the full mass. Colin McDonald on the shovel as he got the sharp pass from Cizikas. High to Soderberg. He's got Eriksson on his right. Eriksson cuts to the middle. The shot, shoulder saved by Pullen. Loose in front. Paille one-hands it to the far boards. Eriksson trying to pick it up. Soderberg with a good angle and effort to keep Calvin DeHaan from skating the puck out of the zone. DeHaan circles. Now comes up, finds Colin McDonald in the Boston zone. Boychuk lifts the stick of Matt Martin. Thornton around through the corner, but Hickey pinches down the defenseman past the goal line. Thornton kicks the puck over to Boychuk, who looks over his shoulder, rams it off the boards. It hops past Campbell. Wisnowski seals it off for the moment. The puck squirts back to Hickey at the Islanders line. Boychuk swats at it. Oposo takes the hit from Campbell to move it cross ice. Franz Nielsen with Grabner nearby. To the far corner, Thornton and Oposo go in there. Oposo keeps his legs moving, stays on his skates, pivots against Thornton, cuts inside on Boychuk, gets the shot away despite probably knowing he was going to get flattened, but still got it off. Here's Hickey backtracking. Wisnowski fakes the shot, now drives this, save by Johnson. Campbell gives it away to Hickey. He didn't get enough oomph on it to get it across to Thornton. Caron sweeps around Hickey, he'll go for tripping. But no, he won't, because Grabner scores from Oposo. It's 2-2.
Just a number of mistakes by Boston on this shift. It even started with their captain, Char, on a wraparound that couldn't connect. And there was late in coverage. They relied on Johnson to make that first save. And on two occasions, they had opportunities to get the puck out of their own zone. They failed to do it. Whether it was lack of execution or indecision. And they end up turning the puck over, and it's a nice play, real nice play, again by that line. Nielsen able to fire that puck down to Oposo after he was tripped by Caron. And Oposo delivers a perfect pass for the one-timer for Grabner.
Sky puck drops down in the corner. Josh Bailey swivels the backhand to Andrew McDonald. His blast saved by Johnson. Double deflection came back off Johnson's pads. Now here's Bailey moving to the backhand on Miller's side. Flicks it to Brian Straight. Rips it down the boards. Bailey turns to the point. Bergeron just clamps down and produces a 3-on-2. Smith the first one with Marchand the trailer. Smith going deep against Andrew McDonald. Puck battle on the end board. Smith wins it to get the puck to Marchand. Scoots it around. Bergeron takes it past the hash marks against Straight. Bergeron leaves it for Marchand. He's got Miller back. Comes through the seam to Bartkowski. The wrist shot, and Poulin makes the save. But an important thrust up the ice keyed by Patrice Bergeron's defense.
An important shift. Boston needed to get something going again and not allow any momentum to build for the Islanders. I originally had Nielsen making that pass to Oposo, but it was Hickey Jack, the defenseman that was tripped up by Caron. But he kept the play alive, and now Boston trying to get something back. It's always a battle against these Islanders. The Islanders again tying this hockey game. But some poor play by Boston, some poor execution, some bad decisions. That's why they allow the Islanders to tie this hockey game.
As you pointed out, Brick, Jack Capuano making a change in his lines from the way they had begun the game. This puck comes through Thomas Hickey. Poulin scrapes it to the far boards. Vanek backhands it high off the glass, and it deflects up and out of play.
Tonight, after post-game coverage, stay with us and join Adam and Leah for Nesson Sports Today. Or tonight, presented by People's United Bank. We'll have more on the Bruins. Rob Bradford will stop by with the latest on David Ortiz. And take a look at the Patriots free agent, Garrett Blunt. Check it all out tonight after the postgame.
Off the face-off, Iginla to Lucic at the top of the circle, to the high slot, the drive, and it leaves a dent on the end boards wide on the glove side of Kevin Poulin. Krug reaches forward to poke it ahead. Now it's Iginla in traffic. Vanek tries to go through the seam. Iginla knocks down the pass. Lucic 1-on-3, gains a lot of attention. Then Tun tosses the puck to the corner for Iginla. Tavares, the quick up for Clutterbuck, taking the middle of the ice. Vanek redirects it. It rides the dasher down into Boychuk's corner. He takes a big hit from Clutterbuck. That's what Clutterbuck does best. Easy for you to say. Iginla goes off the wall, and the Bruins get a full change. Just past the midpoint of the second period in a 2-2 game. Here comes Nielsen flying into the Boston zone. Paille knocks the puck back. DeHaan rips it around through the corner. Chara holds. Here comes Oposo. Chara into the skates of Grabner. Grabner leaves it up. Nielsen gets off a fluttering shot. Not much on it, and well wide. The puck goes wide of the goal, so it's icing against Boston. Well, you've talked about the Islanders' deadly abilities in the attacking zone. One little bobble or a little mistake, and wham, they got a scoring chance out of it.
Yeah, and they almost, the Bruins that in almost gave him another one right there. Chara trying to make a play, circling the net, and again, failure to execute can cause problems.
Soderberg wins the faceoff from Tavares straight back. Hamilton leaves the puck for Chara. Vanek approaching Chara. He goes north and south to Paille. Paille turns it off the boards. Tavares on the check. And finally, Soderberg knocks the puck clear to center. Chara with a big reach. Takes control. D to Hamilton. Ahead to Eriksson into Chara's skates on the return. He trickles it forward and gives it away to Andrew McDonald. Our next TV break will be away for just 30 seconds as Brick looks at Frans Nielsen's goal in the Berkshire Bank exciting rewind. So just a 30-second break coming up. Eriksson cross ice for Caron, leaves it off for Soderberg. Soderberg looking for the shot, goes off Karkner's stick and dives in the corner for Tavares. He snaps it and it comes spinning in on Johnson. Bartkowski has Caron ahead on the right. Hard through him, and it hits Cizikas, who had just hopped over the boards for the Islanders. Cizikas right over the center dot. Into space for Matt Martin against Miller. Off the end board, Cizikas. Bartkowski rides him off the puck. Campbell ahead to Thornton. Cuts back around Colin McDonald. Thornton on the diagonal. Now drops it for Marchand. Marchand cuts it back. Goes to the middle. Marchand past Krug. Krug in the corner takes a hit from straight. Karkner fans on the first attempt to get it up the boards. Thornton jumps down on Colin McDonald in the second and takes the puck away. Gives to Marchand. Marchand saucers the pass to Kevin Miller, who draws Matt Martin. Now wrists it toward goal. Marchand with a quick spin short of the wall. Thornton uses the traffic. Cizikas is going to go for a penalty here as Chad Johnson goes to the Boston bench. Marchand goes one way then the other. Riley Smith, the extra skater. Thornton versus Smith. He scores! How that turnabout is fair play. The Islanders scored while a delayed penalty was coming up against Boston. Now Riley Smith does the same to the Isles. 3-2 Bruins.
They give Sean Thornton a lot of credit. He started it back in the defensive zone, Jack. On the off wing, able to step out into the middle, carry the puck the length of the ice. This was going to be the penalty to Cizikas. Marchand stepped on the ice when Thornton carried the puck into the offensive zone. And the Bruins are able to get Johnson out of the net, get the extra attacker on. And Riley Smith, again, get to the net. That's where the goals are scored. Sometimes it's a good bounce that finds you. But if you're in the right spot, good things are going to happen. But Thornton did a nice job, along with Marchand, in that offensive zone to draw the penalty, number one. Number two, to keep the play alive with puck possession and recapture the lead.
We got another really good game going here. Grabner steals the puck in the corner, looking for Nielsen, but he gets crushed on the check by Smith, who gets up holding his mug. I think he might have caught an errant stick there. Smith skates off. Now here comes Thomas Hickey, who can really rush the puck. Nielsen with speed goes through Bergeron's check, pulls up at the hash marks. Here's Wisnowski's drive, goes off Bergeron, off the end boards, next to the post and right across as Oposo, red hot, got a piece of the puck, knocking down Marchand from behind, and they call cross-checking. Kyle Oposo shakes his head as he heads to the box. The Bruins with a power play trying to extend the lead to 2.
Cross-checking.
Time now for the Berkshire Bank exciting rewind. Roll it back to the first period. The Bruins had a 1-0 lead, and they had been managing the puck very well lately. But they're going to make a mistake in their own zone. It's going to cost. The Bergeron's in good position right now. Riley Smith just does not feel the pitch from straight the defenseman for the Islanders. Top part of your screen, Marchand's taking off out towards the neutral zone in case Riley Smith is able to handle that pass and chip it out behind straight, but he's unable to do so. Now that opens up a seam in the defensive zone. Quick pass by Nielsen, and you can see the incidental contact with Marchand. That allows a breakdown in coverage, allows Nielsen separation. He gets the one chance that can stop, but he also had a chance for the rebound.
Every month, Berkshire Bank is giving away a Kindle Fire HD. Plus, at the end of the season, Berkshire Bank will assist one lucky winner with their mortgage for a year. All you need to do is vote for your favorite exciting rewind. Go to NESN.com/Berkshire Bank to enter. Berkshire Bank, life is exciting. Let them help. Kyle Okposo in the box.
Well, they deemed it cross-checking, and Okposo didn't like the call. Just a little forearm push from behind on Marchand. You can understand why he's a little upset. That is not a cross-check.
Nope, he had one hand clearly off the stick and should not have been called for. And you know, Kyle Okposo, he's only 6 feet tall, but he is built like, well, you know, the proverbial brick thing. He is a very strong guy, takes a wide stance, which gives him tremendous leverage in contact, and sometimes he just fools referees with how hard he hits guys legally. And not on the Olympic team, to several people's amazement. He's only gone on a ferocious tear since being overlooked.
Well, we'll see if the Bruins can use their power play, in a critical time in the hockey game. Late second period, up by a goal. You want to extend your lead to 2 if you can.
Krug drops it off for David Krejci. Chara to Krejci on the half boards. Lucic out at the blue line, rotates it to Krug. He closes. He's got Krejci weak side. Pass does not connect. Krejci tries to get it back to Krug. Cizikas with good stick position. Islanders, another one of the teams that have picked up a skills coach, and that's one of the things they work on. Chara down to the half boards, cross ice ahead of McGinley, gloves it to control the puck. Andrew McDonald risks the puck the length of the ice. Different power play unit comes out. Dougie Hamilton and Patrice Bergeron deep in the Boston zone. Eriksson swings to the left. Smith has returned to the ice. He's on the right wing. Bergeron flips it up the boards for Smith. Smith to the corner, takes a big hit from DeHaan. Smith taps the puck back to Hamilton. Hamilton has Eriksson on the left point, goes up the boards for Smith. Bergeron tries to steer it to Eriksson. It's just behind him, but Eriksson hustles back and keeps the puck in the attacking zone. Down to Riley Smith, takes the hit from Hickey. Eriksson wrists it across. It's in Soderberg's skates. Hickey rattles it loose. Here comes Clutterbuck, who has those 3 shorthanded goals this season. Clutterbuck fires it wide of Johnson. He gloves it down and taps it just past. Soderberg reverses behind the goal to Hamilton. Hamilton the self pass. Grabner's right on him. Now Bergeron cross ice to Soderberg's take. Soderberg wrists it around the boards. Bergeron takes it, cuts off the half boards, but can't retain possession as Straight got the stick check on him. Riley Smith, not a high stick there. Eriksson to Smith, low circle. High pass, Hamilton gloves it down, it's trouble. Grabner with his second shorthanded breakaway, and it's 2-on-0 with Okposo to Grabner to Okposo. He scores! 3-3!
Dougie Hamilton's the last man back in this situation. He thinks he can be able to get up, knock this puck down, and still make a play in the offensive zone despite the pressure. And Okposo, unfortunately for Boston, steps right out of the penalty box. Grabner recognizes it. They move the puck quickly. Trade passes a couple of times. They get Johnson to commit to Grabner on the last pass, or second to last pass, I should say. Then Grabner finds Okposo for the empty netter. But again, a poor decision by Boston. Costs them.
And Okposo looks for more. Campbell bumps him. Tavares goes down after contact with Bartkowski. Boychuk out of the corner. Tavares comes over to have a look. Boychuk wobbles in. It bounces on Wisnowski. Here's Caron cutting the corner. Caron goes around the goal, sends it right through the goal mouth. Okposo wants transition. Ahead to Vanek with Tavares on the left. Chara with the huge radius knocks it away from Tavares. Wisnowski. Hickey with Bergeron in pursuit. Bergeron loses an edge. Tavares past Riley Smith up ahead. Vanek's got a break. Vanek getting harassed by Chara and Hamilton. A penalty coming here. No possession yet. It goes to Okposo. He blasts it. And Johnson makes the save. Chara gets possession. Hooking is the call against Hamilton. And the Bruins are going to be shorthanded with 3:59 to go in the second period. The Islanders feeling some momentum.
27 Boston.
Dale Arnold with the Toyota game break. Columbus at Carolina first period. Ryan Johansson tips the puck back to R.J. Umberger in the slot. Beats Anton Khudobin for his 14th of the season. Columbus leads 2-0 in the second period. Jack?
Dale, those Columbus Blue Jackets have come right to life since Nathan Horton got healthy.
Dougie Hamilton trying to get back on this play, Jack. Vanek got in behind both he and Chara on a quick up through the neutral zone, and it's the stick work by Hamilton that's going to send him to the box. The Islanders trying to feed off the momentum here with that tying goal on the 2-on-0. Grabner and Oposo. Here they go on the power play.
Oposo to take the draw against Bergeron. Oposo with a 3-point night, a goal and 2 assists. And he is as hot as any player in the National Hockey League right now. He's got 4 goals, 7 assists for 11 points in 6 consecutive games. And this one isn't over, by the way. Bergeron wins the faceoff straight back. Chara holding off Vanek. Backhands it up the boards. Tavares, good anticipation into Oposo's skates now. Oposo holds against Bergeron. Tavares to Wisniewski. The floater goes over the top. Vanek tries to chop it into the goal mouth. Chara settles things down, gets the puck to the corner, but Oposo is there. And Wisniewski had anticipated a pass to the middle of the line. He'll have to go back to retrieve.
Yeah, asking a lot for Wisniewski to cover that entire blue line in this one defenseman full forward formation.
Wisniewski gains the line, flicks the pass. Boychuk bats it to the line. Wisniewski keeps it in the zone. Boychuk gets it out on the second effort. Lubomir Wisniewski feeds John Tavares. Tavares into the Boston zone. Franz Nielsen drops it off to Oposo. A big hit in the corner on Nielsen by Boychuk. Oposo to Wisniewski to Oposo, fakes the shot, but the pass offline intended for Tavares. Boychuk up to the line, but not out. Oposo swivels to Wisniewski, looking to reverse it to Oposo, but Campbell getting the stick on it. Gregory Campbell with a solid penalty-killing game. Now here's Nielsen to Oposo, the wrist shot, and a save in front, and the puck goes squirting to the boards. Paille picks it up, knocks it off the wall and all the way down the rink.
Another good board battle there by Johnny Boychuk to free that puck up. Bruins needed a change.
Half a minute to go in Dougie Hamilton's hooking penalty. Andrew McDonald with a shoulder fake. Josh Bailey gains the line. Clutterbuck goes right in front of Johnson. Nelson's shot hits Clutterbuck, and Clutterbuck goes down. Krejci spanks it all the way down the rink. 10 seconds to go on Hamilton's penalty. Hamilton to Bailey in the center circle, chips the pass over Krejci's stick to Nelson. Hits the brakes against Bartkowski. Now Bailey on the end boards. Bailey trickles it over to Tavares. The backup drive to Hunt. Save the rebound. Bailey just wide of the post. Bailey holds near the goal line, throws it off Bartkowski's legs. Hamilton out of the box. 2 shots on the power play by the Islanders. 9 power play shots for the Isles tonight, and they have gotten momentum out of their man advantages. Louis Eriksson over the line, trickles the pass forward for Krejci. Krejci against DeHaan. The puck goes loose to the corner. McDonald can't find the pass, and Iginla almost had a golden chance. Brock Nelson toe drag to bring it back away from Krug, and then he throws it to the end boards. Chara bangs hard into Tavares, takes a big hit from Martin, and here's Cizikas turning it back to Hickey. His blast goes off Krejci's skates, bounces all the way through Krug and Iginla. It goes to Tavares. Tavares, high slot. Hickey has to make an adjustment, keeps it in the zone. The puck on edge. The blast sails and hits the end boards. Tavares, Lucic kings him in. Final minute of the second period. Krug, the shift on Cizikas, gets to the neutral zone, bounces it off the stick of Straight. Straight fires it off the boards. Tavares circling back as Cizikas gains the line. Cizikas trickles it through. Martin on the end boards. Soderberg takes a swipe. Martin back to Hickey. The wrist shot off the legs of Jarome Iginla. Lucic chips it far side. Here's Soderberg with a turn on Hickey. Closes and scores! Carl Soderberg with Swedish oomph! And the Bruins are up 4-3. What a power move by Soderberg.
Well, he takes this pass right in stride on the backhand through the neutral zone, and he knows he has the advantage. He knows he has the advantage against Hickey. Hickey's really central. He doesn't have a good angle. Loses an edge because he tries to reach out and play the puck. And Soderberg just attacks. Poulin stays a little too deep. Doesn't use the stick to prevent the backhand to forehand move. He just stays along the goal line and tries to take away the lower half. Not a good decision. And Soderberg buries it.
Do I smell smoke? Because the barn's on fire. 7 goals in this game, yet neither team has had a 2-goal lead. Bruins haven't trailed tonight. Here's DeHaan, the snap shot, and Johnson makes the save. 20 seconds to go in the second period. Wow. Well, Claude Julien's been telling people, I don't know if they've been listening for the last few years, but he says this Islanders team is young and they're getting better every time the Bruins face them.
It almost seems that when the Bruins make a mistake, and they've made their share tonight. I mean, they were a dominant team for the first 13 minutes of this hockey game. But when there's been mistakes made, it seems like the Islanders capitalize.
McDonald, here's Tavares as the puck goes just past the heel of his blade. Vanek pivoting the backhand waist high across the goal mouth. Now Tavares holds on the boards, trickles it through to McDonald. He goes down over the stick of Bergeron, and Bergeron's going to go for a penalty at the 20-minute mark. The Bruins are going to start both the second and the third periods with a 2-minute penalty kill.
Yeah, there's been some similarities back and forth, and scoring goals on delayed penalty calls, penalties to the Bruins at the end of the first and second periods. This one's going to go to Bergeron on that little inside move. Just enough bad stick position, I guess, warrants the penalty call. But the Bruins continue to take the lead, and the Islanders just don't go away.
No, they don't. We got a great third period coming, and Dale, the Bruins have been great late. That goal by Soderberg means that in the final 2 minutes of periods this season, the Bruins have outscored their opponents 26-14, and they lead 4-3. Boston Bruins Hockey on NESN is brought to you by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com. By Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. By your local New England Audi dealers. And by TD Bank, America's most convenient bank. 4-3 Bruins as we get set for what should be a tremendous third period of hockey. If it can measure up to the first two, it's going to be pretty dandy. Moments ago, Brick tried to sort it out with Bruins assistant coach Jeff Ward.
Jeff, Kyle Soderberg gives you your 4th lead of the night, but the Islanders just don't seem to go away. What makes it so difficult to put 2 points on the board against these guys?
Well, they play awful hard, number one, and they've got great speed, and they're really doing a good job right now and getting their speed working through the neutral zone, tipping with that guy in the middle or distributing it wide. They're able to get in, and then, of course, they're sending an awful lot of guys through the slot with their stick down. They're hitting that tip right in the slot for the stick, and they're good at low plays, like small little plays around the crease. So we've got to make sure that we're really aware of taking the middle of the way in the neutral zone in the third period and making sure that we're all back in the house with our sticks on the ice and preventing those bodies from getting through there.
It almost seems like whenever you guys make a mental or physical mistake, it ends up in the back of your net. I guess what I'm asking is, along those lines, what area or areas of your game need to be better in the third period?
Well, we've got to tighten up in the neutral zone, not give them the middle, and I think we've got to make sure that we're looking after the top part of the slot in our own end.
Good luck in the third period.
Thanks.
Tonight's Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. The Bruins' Brad Marchand leads the NHL with 4 shorthanded goals this season. That's more than 13 team totals out of the 30-team National Hockey League. And the Bruins will be killing a penalty as the third period begins, because at the 20-minute mark, Patrice Bergeron was assessed for this.
Stick in an area that it just can't be in today's game. Bergeron will start the third period in the penalty box. The Bruins, Jack, on the goal by Soderberg. 4 leads in this one, yet they only lead by 1.
We've mentioned how hot Kyle Okposo is and how well he's done against the Bruins this season, Brick. He has 3 3-point games against Boston. He's the first player to have 3 3-point games against the Boston Bruins in a single season since Mario Lemieux in the 1996 season. That's pretty good company. And you got to think that if an American forward named to the Olympic team has so much as a hangnail between now and Sochi, 21 and Blues got to get the call.
Patrice Bergeron, 2 minutes for holding. That's 20 minutes. That's the Bruins.
Franz Nielsen back in his own zone as the Bruins put a lot of pressure forward up the ice to try to keep the Islanders out of that dangerous slot that Jeff Ward was just describing. Tavares goes around. Eric Erickson and fires it just wide of the glove side post. Krejci patient with the puck, gets it to Boychuk, and he cranks off a 200-footer that had some good English on it. Puck was starting to sail. Lubomir Visnovsky returning to the lineup, his first game since the 19th of October after missing 47 in a row. Here's Okposo, the shot hammers off the inboards. Nielsen fans, Tavares, his stick goes farther than the puck as it shatters on contact, and the faceoff will be in the Boston zone. Is it difficult for a goalie to track the puck when the stick is flying also, or is he can sort it out pretty quick?
Yeah, he sorts it out pretty quick. Very rarely do you see that happen, but not be saved by the goaltender. That being said, the Bruins a little loose in coverage in the neutral zone. I know it's a power play, but Jeff Ward told us between periods the neutral zone is going to tighten up. That time Okposo was allowed to just wheel and deal, walked right in, tops of the circles. That was a bullet.
Here's a loose puck in front. Nielsen, the backhand chip wide of the post. Nielsen trying to get it through Boychuk. He pries the backhand of the line. Visnovsky down to a knee to knock it down. Tavares to Visnovsky. He's facing Paille. Visnovsky wiggles along the line. Okposo brings it back to Visnovsky alone at the blue line. The drive, Tavares off Boychuk's skates. Boychuk can't crank it out. Chara the tap on the backhand to Campbell, and he finishes the clear.
Nice tandem work. Boychuk and Chara.
Marchand on the ice along with Jarome Iginla, who spent a little bit more time penalty killing in the beginning of the season than he has of late. Cal Clutterbuck to the corner against Bartkowski. Tavares at the half board, swings it back to DeHaan. DeHaan's drive hits two sticks. The rebound, Clutterbuck off the pile in front. Marchand scrapes it loose. Clutterbuck gains the puck. Back to McDonald. McDonald to the middle of the line. He's got DeHaan sneaking down the left side. Clutterbuck's drive goes off Bartkowski to the end wall. Miller trickles it forward. Marchand kicks to the stick, finds Iginla. Iginla with Bergeron emerging from the box. He knew it. And here comes Bergeron closing to Iginla, the bomb. He snaps his stick. Bergeron almost finds it on the far post. Iginla goes back to the Boston bench to get new lumber. Marchand wins the puck battle. Bergeron scores! Wow! What a shift! Marchand, after Iginla waited, knowing that Bergeron was coming out of the box, finding Patrice Bergeron, and the Bruins are up 2 for the first time tonight.
Marchand all the way back in his own zone, takes the puck off the wall and finds Iginla. And as you pointed out, Jack, Iginla waited in the neutral zone, moved laterally. You got to have that clock awareness. He knows Bergeron's penalty is about to expire. He came on with about 30 seconds left in the PK, so he knew exactly when Bergeron would be able to come out. And then a real good effort. Iginla has to go to the bench. He breaks his stick on that little drop pass by Bergeron. But Marchand gets inside position, able to steal the puck away from Cizikas. And then Bergeron just fighting his way between two Islanders to get a quick shot away after Marchand finds him with a perfect pass.
Cizikas hard through the corner. Brings it back. Straight off the boards past Colin McDonald. Dougie Hamilton, the patient chip pass to Krejci. Now Lucic in the middle of the ice into space, but Martin is back. Krejci harassing him as he comes out of the Islanders zone. Lucic, they set up the kill box, and Lucic gets the puck to Iginla. Can't get around Hickey, who held good stick position and forced Iginla corner. Iginla trying to muscle around the far side of the goal. Now mashes Hickey, but Hickey won that little puck battle. And the Islanders get the puck out. Lucic cutting back against Regan. And the puck won't cooperate with him. He beats it into the zone. Here's Bergeron coming out of the box.
Now Bergeron able to step right out of the box. Little communication. Remind Iginla, I'm right here. Little drop pass. That's a nice play. McDonald gets his stick in. And then the battle start. Bergeron's there long enough to allow time for Marchand to get in. And then to get back in position in the front of the net to receive the return pass from Marchand.
Kevin Miller swipes it into the zone. Calvin DeHaan swings it to Cartner. Cartner short of the red line. Josh Bailey hammers it in deep. Chad Johnson and Kevin Miller right in front of the open goal. Here comes Soderberg charging up the middle of the ice into Eriksson's skates. Soderberg goes back for it, picks up the puck, and flicks it into the Islanders zone. DeHaan with a stop start, and then he swings it D to D. Cartner right over the center dot. And he tumbles the muffin wide of Johnson. Krug. Bailey picks it up in the corner as Miller couldn't receive the pass. Now it's Eriksson going straight north and south. Eriksson gloves it forward. Paille kicks it. That's possession, and it's a hand pass against the Bruins.
Tomorrow night at 6:30, join Dale and Barry when WB Mason presents Bruins Face Off Live. We'll get you ready for the drop of the puck as the Bruins head home to take on the Panthers. Take a look at Zdeno Chara, Team Slovakia's chances in Sochi, and have all the latest NHL news. It's all that and more tomorrow at 6:30.
So Bergeron with a goal and an assist. Marchand with a goal and 2 assists. Riley Smith with a goal and an assist. And that line just stays smoking hot. Smith, the tap off the high slot pass from Marchand. And the Bruins will get a face-off in the attacking zone.
Yeah, a real nice chemistry between those three. When Louis Eriksson came back to the lineup, Claude Julien opted to keep that line together. And now you're getting a little production from Eriksson tonight with a goal. Kyle Soderberg with a goal. And a nice pass by Lucic, by the way.
Riley Smith taps the backhand to Chara, loads up the drive, save, pulling the rebound, rattles around. Wisnowski helped to get it to the boards. Okposo muscles it forward, but Bergeron is there to stop the flow. Here comes Marchand, hits the brakes, loses an edge, but gets the puck to Hamilton. Hamilton in the middle of the slot, the backhander goes off Bergeron and wide. Hamilton right on Poulin, and he snags it on the rebound off his right leg pad.
And there's that mobility from the blue line. Dougie Hamilton able to take that pass at the right point, drive right down the middle of the slot.
You know, we asked the question rhetorically, who has more fun than us? But I got the feeling the players are having more fun than us right now. You know, there have been some mistakes tonight, but this has been a pretty good game. It's not as if the Islanders can't play. A lot of talent. Bartkowski down the boards. Thornton swings it right through the goal mouth. Campbell, the stick check, knocks Grabner's stick right out of his hands. Nelson swivels the pass to Karkner. He drives it into the gut of Chad Johnson. He'll have to take a Boston zone faceoff on this. 62 shots on goal already in this game.
31 apiece.
Nobody's asking for their money back tonight. A lot of Bruins fans made the trip, even though it's a weeknight game.
Running out of games to see the Bruins play here.
Yeah, there will be only one more next season. The Bruins will play here only once, and Islanders are supposed to move to Brooklyn to play in a basketball building in the fall of 2015. Tavares' shot hits the pile. Tavares finds it, back to straight, walks into one, and a block by Boychuk about 12 feet away. Vanek off the side of the goal, and Johnson dives down on the puck, and there it is again. The Islanders just ignoring the scoreboard and turning up the effort.
And good awareness by Chad Johnson. Understand that one of his players, Sean Thornton in this case, playing without a stick in the defensive zone. He's aware of that. If I get a chance to get a whistle, I'm taking it.
Tavares, Vanek, Okposo, DeHaan, and McDonald. Tavares on the half boards. Turns it down the wall. Okposo. Hamilton gives him the shoulder. Okposo goes right through traffic and keeps the puck. Now working against Chara. Lucic knocks it into the referee's skates. Finds it first. Krejci, there's a little triangle back to Chara. Chara returns it through the seam, but Krejci can't reach out and grab it. McDonald. It rides the glass, now all the way to Tavares. Off Hamilton to the corner. Here's Okposo with a tight, hard turn. DeHaan's wrist shot off of Ginla and Tavares. Lucic feeds it forward, but nobody's there. Okposo filling the seam. The backhand against the grain to Vanek. Vanek gives it away to Krejci. Krejci tips it forward. Self-pass around DeHaan. He's got Lucic middle. Krejci saucers. Blocker stopped by Poulin with Lucic going to the post. Krejci knocks down the outlet pass. It goes through Okposo's skates. And they stop play as Lucic gains possession of the puck. They rule a hand pass because it wasn't offside. The puck hasn't crossed the blue line.
Yeah, I thought it was an offside call.
Well, maybe the puck had crossed the blue line.
Well, David Krejci with a nice steal on Vanek in the neutral zone, able to chip it by DeHaan. He's trying to find Lucic off that far post. Once again, you have to go aerial. You have to make a saucer pass, but aggressive move by Poulin. And it was too tight to the net. So he was able to get a piece of it with his block.
Scoring chances. 34 all told. They're going to drop this one at the center dot. Miller reverses D to Torrey Krug. He draws Brock Nelson up the boards for Caron. Caron in a puck battle in front of the Boston bench with Wisnowski. The puck squirts loose. Clutterbuck goes in there to wreak some havoc. Krug goes D to Miller up to Thornton, who had made the pivot to make himself available. Hickey knocks down the pass. Nelson can't clear. Campbell keeps it in the zone. Caron, Campbell, and Thornton in a traffic jam along the wall. Thornton uses the Campbell screen. Caron couldn't curl it around Poulin to get it in the open side. Clutterbuck springs Grabner up the left side. Grabner hits the brakes against Miller. Gets it through to Wisnowski. Miller pokes it away. Keeps his position. Thornton flicks it out.
A good stick, good recovery, good layers on the back check. Allows Miller to make that play.
Ryan straight to Lubomir Wisnowski into the skates of Carl Soderberg. Slips it ahead to Paille. The shot off Straight's legs. Paille grabs the puck. Makes a nifty little self-pass. Soderberg gathers in the puck. Turns it around through Nielsen. Keeps going toward the slot. And finally Regan knocks it away. Josh Bailey up the left wing against Boychuk. Cross corner dump. Bartkowski knows Regan is coming. Gives him a bump. Regan wins the puck battle in the corner. Bailey gets it free to Nielsen in front. Nobody there except Paille, and he sprints it out the off wing. The left shot on the right side. Paille cuts it back to Soderberg. The shot, leg save, Poulin. Juicy rebound. Eriksson finds it, fires, glove saved by Poulin. 12:34 to go in this one. The Bruins have taken 34 shots on goal. Patrice Bergeron's most recent went in.
Earlier on Bruins Face Off Live, we introduced tonight's NESN Mobile Bruins poll. Which of these four players who currently lead the league in points will record the most points by the end of the season? Pick your poison, reply A, B, C, or D with your choice. Text your answer to 536-536. Message and data rates may apply. Text HELP for info and visit NESN.com/terms for terms and conditions and a privacy policy.
Thank you, Jamie. A lot of love there for Patrick Kane. But Sidney Crosby with a comfortable lead.
Yeah, pretty tough to make up 13 points when you're chasing a guy like Crosby in about 30 games. Tough to do.
Getting about a point and a half a night. Smith rifles it off of Andrew McDonald. Chara has to go back for the long carom. Chara turns the goal with Regan dogging him. Gets it out to Riley Smith, to Chara, taking the middle of the ice to Marchand. Chara keeps going. The backhand off the side of the netting. Marchand for Chara, trying to scoop one in from the slot. And a good rotation by Riley Smith, not leaving the Bruins with just one defenseman back. Marchand on the boards against Tavares. Marchand one way then the other. Tavares keeps him on the perimeter, but Chara now the wrist shot, scores! Poulin tried to play it with the blade of the stick, and it catches the inside and goes in. Zdeno Chara has his 500th point in the National Hockey League.
Just a simple little wrist shot from 60-plus feet. And this puck will go wide of the stick and just inside that far post. Give Marchand another point on the night. Just that little snapshot. Misplay by Poulin. And wondering if they're going to make a goaltending change here, Jack, in the final 12 minutes, maybe to get something going in the opposite direction.
Evgeny Nabokov will come into the goal. Kevin Poulin gets chased.
I mean, Chara gets the goal. Congratulations on the 500th point, but again, it was Marchand making the play.
Yep.
In coverage on Tavares, spin move 2 or 3 times to just get enough separation to make a short little play. Chara had a heck of a shift. Started the breakout, jumped into the play, attacked the blue line, got a return pass at the side of the net with a backhanded chance, rotated back to the slot, looked for a one-timer, kind of healed that one, got back to that right point position, get a wrist shot on goal, score a goal. Very active, but it all starts with what? Breaking the puck out cleanly, owning the neutral zone, and then Marchand just controlling the puck in the offensive zone after Bergeron came in and bumped the puck away from the Islanders to create the turnover.
Third 4-point game of Brad Marchand's career. Kyle Oposo bats it past Bartkowski, goes around the goal, recovers the loose puck. Hickey Forehand, backhand pass to Ginla. Poso fires away. Bartkowski taps the puck ahead. Wrists it past Lucic and Lubomir Wisnowski. Hickey scoots it out of the zone, but gives the puck away to Krug at the red line. He waits and now drives it hard around into the zone. Hickey on the backhand, chips past Lucic to Wisnowski. Wisnowski straight ahead for a Poso, reaches around to get it to Hickey. He can't handle the pass. Krug hacks it to the near side. Lucic tries the one-hand sweep, and a Poso takes it away. Bounces it forward to Tavares. Wiggling puck, Miller through Tavares, and Lucic takes it cross ice for Krug. Krug, quick stick. Lucic gains the line. Off to Campbell. He's got Krug going up the slot. The one-hander. And Nabokov gets a piece of the puck. Colin McDonald far side. Martin off the boards and out. Cizikas against Krug, and Krug wins the puck away. Miller in front of the Boston bench for Sean Thornton. He lets one rip off the end boards from the red line. Calvin DeHaan up the wall off Cizikas' skates, but there's Colin McDonald. He's got Martin busting up the middle. Tries a swim move on Miller, but Miller takes the puck. Miller out of the corner. DeHaan pinches down against Campbell. Cizikas chases back toward the blue line. Caron's on him. Martin fires it on Johnson. Miller takes a big hit from Colin McDonald. Let's go Bruins, the chant from the many Boston fans in the crowd, and they're getting booed by the Islanders faithful. Here's Campbell gaining the line. He fires into the skates of DeHaan. Off to Thornton to Bartkowski, loading up. And it trickles through to the corner. Caron and DeHaan. Nelson wiggles the puck ahead for Grabner. He gives it to Clutterbuck, sprinting right side. Boychuk puts the body on him. And the puck to the corner. Nelson tries to rake it out of their skates. Bartkowski, Boychuk, and a rarely seen whistle. The ref gave up on it. He saw Brock Nelson in there between those two big bodies and figured that puck's going nowhere. A face-off coming. Zdeno Chara with his 500th NHL point and a 3-goal lead. Brad Marchand now with 7 goals and 5 assists for 12 points in 6 games.
Great work, one-on-one. Tavares just trying to keep the play to the perimeter, yet try to create some kind of a turnover, but Marchand protects the puck real well. And then just that simple little wrist shot by Chara. Had eyes, poorly played by the Islander goaltender.
Johnson makes the save off Vanek. Well, the Bruins had a little bit of looseness. The Islanders' talent showing through. But Boston seems to have gotten a big surge out of that Carl Soderberg goal late in the second period. Zdeno Chara scooping the puck up to the blue line. Tavares up the boards. Chara hums it over off Eriksson's stick. He takes the hit from straight to knock it deep.
Yeah, they get a good kill to start the third period as well, Jack. Special teams, you want to get them to, you want the big special teams play at the most important times of the hockey game.
Johnson grabs the bouncer.
But I got to believe the message was clear from the coaching staff coming into this third period. We've had 4 leads. We have one right now entering the third period. Here's our schedule the rest of the way. You don't want to get too far out in front, put the cart before the horse, et cetera, et cetera. But the point being that a chance to bank 2 more points tonight, it's critical. These guys beat us twice already. It's not going to happen again tonight. And the message certainly seemed to be received.
Torrey Krug. Marchand catches it on his skate and accelerates over the red line. Marchand stick handling 1-on-3 to Smith to Marchand, trying to wiggle it through to Bergeron, and Marchand stays with the play. Smith to Bergeron on the end board, shielding from Hickey. The pass almost connects with Smith. Here's Miller jumping down. He closes. He's got Bergeron in front. The snapshot goes off the end boards. Marchand cycling it, and Nabokov paddles it with the inside of the blade, but the Isles can't clear. Krug to Marchand, cross ice. Smith couldn't get the puck to sit flat on the forehand. Krug on a half-board cycle. Bergeron picks it up, but then Tavares knocks it away. Wisnowski wrists the puck past Vanek. It's deflected, no icing here. 8 minutes to go. The Bruins with 3 unanswered goals starting late in the second period. Carl Soderberg was the man that scored that goal, and he charges in there. But here comes DeHaan. Swings it out to Cartner. Now Nelson into the Boston zone. Grabner fans on it. Here comes Eriksson. Eriksson leaves the puck for Soderberg. Soderberg weaves over the line and almost makes the move to complete what would have been a marvelous rush. Eriksson below the dot to Paille at the goal line. Paille gets muscled off on Brock Nelson's check. Here's Soderberg. The shot off Nelson's stick to the end boards. Soderberg really feeling it at center the last couple of games.
Letting them loose.
It's working. Grabner cuts to the inside with Clutterbuck. Now Clutterbuck trickles it past Grabner. Grabner and Bartkowski chops it back. Bartkowski does. Nielsen off the end boards. Now Boychuk finds a little bit of space into the skates of Krejci. Goes indirect off the wall to get it into the New York zone.
Well, the Flyers didn't play well, but the Bruins did certainly. If you're trying to evaluate what Soderberg's giving you in the middle, the Islanders, they can hurt you in your own zone. It's all about that structure defensively if you're going to play the middle and how you're doing in the face-off circle. The Bruins are able to get a couple centermen on the ice anytime there's draws in their own zone if they're able.
Chara sizzles the pass tape to Iginla, who takes the hit from straight to knock it to the corner. Andrew McDonald and David Krejci there. Iginla pokes it ahead to Lucic. Lucic comes back up the wall. Iginla scoots it to Lucic into the space. The shot off Nielsen's stick, and it actually knocked Nielsen's stick out of his hands. Lucic at the hash marks, trying to go through Straight, who's in a pretty good battle with him. Nielsen gets the puck to Bailey, cross ice, it hops, and now comes to Hamilton, still in the zone. Krejci wrists it around. Iginla unopposed far side, chips the backhand off the kick plate to Lucic, back to Iginla. Iginla stick handling in traffic, double teamed by Straight and Bailey gets it up to Chara, but not out. Iginla goes for a tumble over Bailey. Chara inside the Boston zone, hand passes to Hamilton, so that's legal. Pretty smart play by the big guy. It's about an 8-foot-long piece of lumber lying on the ice. It's Chara's stick in front of the Islanders bench. Wisnowski gets his pocket picked by Thornton. Thornton holds it on the corner. Campbell can't turn the puck past Hickey. He's going to go for tripping or hooking here as the Islanders come up ice. And Nabokov to the Islanders bench. Martin off of Miller. Wisnowski, there's possession, and the call is tripping. The Bruins shorthanded. The Islanders with a must-score power play when the game resumes.
Number 11, Boston.
The Audi Performance Play brought to you by your local New England Audi dealers. Experience Audi Quattro all-wheel drive tonight.
Huge goal for the Bruins late in the second period after the Islanders come back a third time to tie this hockey game 3-3. Milan Lucic with a perfect pass through the neutral zone to a streaking Carl Soderberg. Protected the puck well, used his big body, leaned in with that left shoulder, got position on Hickey. Poulin stayed deep in his net. He took advantage of it.
And who's better than the Bruins resident historian Heidi Holland, who pointed out to us between periods that this is the fourth consecutive road game that the Bruins have scored a last minute of a period goal. And they have gotten emotional boosts from all of them. Opposo off Tavares' backhand. Tavares on the off wing, the left shot on the right side. Brings it back to Wisnowski. He's got Nielsen on his left. Here's Tavares closing. Tries to feed it low to Vanek, but Chara gets his stick in the way. Opposo on the end boards. Chara confronts him. Opposo tries to muscle through it. Comes right in front. Tavares misses the stick side post. And Bergeron rams himself into the boards in order to make the clear. Minute 15 to go on the penalty. Tavares wrists it all the way around. Bartkowski taps to Krejci. Tavares takes it on the backhand, goes indirect to Andrew McDonald along the line of Wisnowski. Spins it down the wall for Opposo. Returns it to Wisnowski. Krejci trying to force the pass here. Here's McDonald off of Miller, and he spanks it clear.
Good patience and structure again by the penalty killing, and Miller with body position, stick position, heads up play.
Full change for the Bruins. Again, it's Iginla as a penalty killing forward with Paille, Boychuk and Chara, the defensive pair. Brock Nelson getting it free to Clutterbuck, goes indirect to DeHaan. DeHaan's wrist shot off of Nelson in front to the end boards. Chara around the corner. Clutterbuck uses good body position far side against Iginla, who can't muscle it out. It's DeHaan along the line for McDonald, turns around Paille. McDonald down to the corner, but Paille cuts off the pass. Clutterbuck finds it, fires it off Nelson's leg, and it goes wide. Bailey against Chara in the corner. Nelson gives it back to DeHaan along the line to McDonald. Campbell on his feet and about to exit the box as Iginla deflects the puck down the ice. No shots on goal for the first time in 5 power play opportunities for the Islanders tonight.
Real good habits late in the hockey game when you're up by 3. Good sign.
Torrey Krug and Matt Martin. Marchand, the tip pass for Bergeron, can't get it out of the zone. Martin turns, wheels it, and hits the top 6 inches of glass. Miller takes a big hit from Colin McDonald. Cizikas, McDonald back of the goal. Miller gives him a shove. McDonald backhands it back to Kartner. His drive hits the pile in the slot. Bergeron takes a hit to send it end over end down the boards for Riley Smith. No icing. Smith gives Kartner a shove. Kartner kicks the puck ahead to Cizikas. Cizikas intercepted by Hamilton. Opozo escapes the jam, but Krejci has the angle to cut him off. Matt Bartkowski has Hamilton on the left. Into Hamilton's body. Tavares takes it with Opozo high slot. Van Eyck goes back of the goal, tries a backhand pass. Nobody there but Krejci. Bartkowski carefully off glass, and it skitters on down toward Nabokov. Won't be icing.
Yeah, Van Eyck trying to get cute when he didn't need to be.
DeHaan straight out of his defensive zone. Over Lucic and Opozo down to the corner. Opozo and Krug lock up, and Lucic is there as the second layer. Van Eyck goes indirect off the boards to Calvin DeHaan. DeHaan high slot, the tip from Tavares into Lucic's body. Hamilton pokes the puck all the way to the red line. Let's go Bruins, the chant from the black and gold fans who have come down here to cheer on Boston. Krug feeds it out to Iginla. The tap to Krejci. Bruins have lost 3 straight in this series to the Islanders. But the Islanders will not complete a season sweep. Clutterbuck in the off wing. The save by Johnson. Clutterbuck tries a near post feed, and it rattles right back to him. Hamilton to Krejci. Ahead for Paille. He is denied by Nabokov. Paille goes hard into Kartner. Eriksson knocks the puck loose in the slot. 1 minute to go in this game. Michael Grabner tries to turn inside. Grabner one way then the other. And Chad Johnson makes the stop.
Enter the Sullivan Taya Bruins Dream Day sweepstakes for your chance to win 2 NESN Luxury Suite tickets, a chance to hang out with NESN's broadcast team, and a private meet and greet with Bruins forward Gregory Campbell. Visit NESN.com/Sullivan Taya tonight for your chance to win. Breakaway for Danny Paille. Nice little pass on the backhand. Laid into space by David Krejci. You know, we haven't talked a lot of Torrey Krug tonight, Jack.
Yeah.
He's been real good.
Made several plays in the first period.
Yeah.
Right at the edge of his reach to keep the puck in the attacking zone.
And good breakout passes, quick ups when that was the right play. Used the net for his own protection at times in order to get that passing lane.
Bruins are going to up their record to 5-1-1 in their last 7. And bring it on home with a smile. They play Florida tomorrow night. We'll have it for you on NESN. Pre-game at 6:30 and game time 7 p.m. at TD Garden. Bruins spent a lot of time on the road, but now they're going to come home for all but one of their remaining games between now and the Olympic break. They have an out and back to St. Louis, but other than that, they're going to be home. Florida Tuesday, Montreal on Thursday. Josh Bailey closing the shot, saved by Chad Johnson with about 5 seconds to go. Save of the game brought to you by Digital Federal Credit Union. What can DCU save you? Franz Nielsen denied.
Well, it's just a reactionary stop at a critical time by Chad Johnson. Got to give your team an opportunity to win. Anytime it looked like momentum was going to go in the direction of the Islanders, he made stops like that. That one on Nielsen with the left pad. Probably the biggest one of the night.
34 saves tonight for Chad Johnson. And Johnson's record increases to 9-3. The Bruins have another excellent offensive evening following up their romp in Philadelphia, which was 6-1, with a 6-3 victory over the Islanders.
Got to feel good. These boys have worked hard the last couple of games. Actually, take it back, last 3, 4, 5 games. Trying to find their identity again, play to the way that they want to play. The 12 goals in 2 games on the road, that's gravy. there were some mistakes made tonight. This Islanders team gives the Bruins a hard time, but the way they played the third period, that was a team determined to win this hockey game tonight.
Yeah, when it was winning time, the Bruins owned the puck and owned the game. And Dale, tee us up for Timmy against Tuukka tomorrow night. Oh, boy.
There might be a little interest in that one, Jack, tomorrow night at the TD Garden. But first, Ace Ticket Bruins Overtime Live. We'll break this one down. We'll get reaction from a victorious Bruins dressing room. Claude Julien will go one-on-one with Jamie Erdahl, and we will preview that game Jack told you about, Bruins and Panthers.